Drake's career has literally just crumbled and burned right in front of our eyes, and it's actually insane. So I'm not going to waste any time getting into this video. It has officially been made to be that Drake has just lost his lawsuit against UMG and partially Kendrick Lamar, and this has to be the biggest L he's ever taken in his career, life, profession, reputation, and I honestly don't think things are going to be looking good for him going forward. And now for everybody that still needs context and just is so clueless as to what is happening, a few hours ago it has just been official that Drake's defamation lawsuit against UMG over Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us diss track has just been dismissed. And what this means now for Drake is that his lawsuit against all of these companies, including Kendrick Lamar, was completely bogus and none of it mattered, and all of this case that he basically built up with supposedly accusing Not Like Us of being botted and having defamatory lyrics is all fake, and it doesn't even matter anymore. And now what the federal judge of this case ended up saying before dismissing this thing was, because the court concludes that the allegedly defamatory statements in Not Like Us are non-actionable opinion, the motion to dismiss is granted. And now there are some rumors and speculations going around that Drake and his team are going to try to appeal this case, but in my opinion, even if he tries doing it, nothing is really going to work, because all the footage and evidence that we saw Drake trying to build up before this case got dismissed was lackluster, with him taking screenshots from random places such as Twitter, DJ Academics, and just sources that were incredible. And what makes this entire situation so much more worse is that this is definitely going to be a complete stain on Drake's career and make him a loser, because heading into this lawsuit, when it was first filed, it was already a really bad look on Drake's career, because the fact that he did a lawsuit after losing the battle to Kendrick Lamar just made him look very petty and just made him look like he just couldn't take the L. But there was still a lot of hope for him, and there was still a good chance of him reviving his career if he ended up winning this case, because if he did win this case, I don't really think anybody was going to talk shit about him, because yeah, he ended up filing a lawsuit, but he ended up winning it. So he ended up putting his mouth, his money where his mouth is, but he came out on top. But with him losing it to the point that the court dismissed it, they didn't even want to hear this case, just really makes it look like whatever he was accusing these companies of was total bullshit. And now, as of right now, we haven't heard anything from Drake and his team after losing this, but we did hear from UMG, who is the label that Drake is signed to, with them basically saying from the outset, this suit was an affront to all artists and their creative expression and never should have seen the light of day. We're pleased with the court's dismissal and look forward to continuing our work successfully promoting Drake's music and investing in his career. And while a lot of people are going to have a problem with this statement from UMG, honestly, I feel like this was the best statement that they could make, because we do need to remember at the end of the day, UMG is partnered up with Drake to help promote his music and just help him grow as an artist. And we do know that Drake was suing UMG, which was his own label, but it doesn't make sense for UMG to have made a statement that was going to be, some sort of diss to Drake, because at the end of the day, they're still going to be working with him and Drake is their biggest cash cow artist. So I do like how UMG ended up approaching this response and basically saying, this was a dumb case, but we still love Drake, we're still going to invest in him, because we do understand how important he is to not just rap music but our label and business as a whole. And now one thing I will defend Drake on is that I really do find it weird that the judges specifically said that Not Like Us was opinionated, because to be fair, Drake was getting accused of crazy things in that song, and for you to say it's an opinion when Drake is clearly not whatever Kendrick Lamar was accusing him of, such as a pedophile and, all these negative things, I do think that that is not respectful to Drake as a human being, because if Drake was really doing all of the stuff that Kendrick Lamar was saying, he would have gone arrested, he would have been caught, we would have seen something by now, the authorities would have looked into it. And for UMG, and everybody else in this case to say that it was opinionated and it was all in light fun, I do think it is distasteful, and I don't think it was opinionated. It was clearly false, because Drake has never been proven any of this stuff that Kendrick Lamar was claiming that he did. But at the same time, I have to also be real, Drake was doing the same thing with Kendrick Lamar on diss tracks like Family Matters, where he was claiming that Kendrick Lamar was some sort of woman beater and all that stuff. So I guess it's the same way vice versa. But I think one thing we definitely learned from this rap battle is that lies are not good. You know what I mean? They are popular in the songs and people could get into it, but at the end of the day, this is how lawsuits happen. You know, we saw Kendrick Lamar make these lies about Drake and Not Like Us, and Drake freaking sued him, and it could have been vice versa. And I think the one lesson we could take is that when these rap battles happen, it's important to learn about what's the truth and what's false, just to keep all this legal shit out of it. I feel like I'm yapping though, but what do you guys think about the entire situation? Drake has just lost his lawsuit against UMG. I'm really interested to see if we end up seeing Kendrick Lamar talk about this maybe in a statement, or he ends up dropping a diss track, or he ends up dropping an album and he kind of mentions this, maybe even this is Drake. And I think for Drake, he is definitely going to have a very hard uphill battle trying to just make his career have a good PR again, because I feel like with him losing this, it's not going to be a good look for him. But we're just going to have to wait and find out. Do you guys think that Drake is innocent? And do you guys think that Drake should have won this case? Or do you guys think that this was a clean sweep and Drake was just bullshitting and Kendrick Lamar and UMG didn't do anything? Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hype up the video. Peace.